The biggest problem in our country isn't that we didn't elect Mitt Romney. The debt, the hole that we have dug for ourselves, spiritually, morally, economically, everything is enormous. Invert that hole and it's a giant mountain. We were what, on the first foothill, maybe? And we actually, and me too, up until Monday night, had the audacity to actually think that we're there. Maybe we can take our foot off? Not with half of God's children lost in darkness. And that's what last night's election made abundantly clear. And in my humanness, I didn't see it. God's work is much bigger than just one person. His work and His glory is the salvation of all man. He's not going to do what others did in Benghazi. He will not leave one man behind. Last night, it was clear that half of our country, our neighbors, are utterly and completely lost in darkness. Forget Mitt Romney. Freedom is at stake, and freedom lost last night. I heard somebody call me today and they said, "Oh, United States of America, I feel like we lost our country today." We can lose our country. The United States of America is in name only. That's a name. No matter what it's transformed in, they'll still call it the United States of America. Spain has been free. It has been with a king. It's been with a president. It's been fascist. But it's always been Spain. We're not losing our country. We are losing the one thing that is unique about us: our Constitution and our connection to each other on principles. Our founders and every great man has told us how it would happen. When Abraham Lincoln was 28 years old, he wrote a speech based on an incident that happened in St. Louis. An African American was grabbed off the street and burned. And he wrote, "At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reaches us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and its finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all time or die by suicide." Last night we voted for financial suicide, military suicide, moral suicide, you name it. And here's what happened. These three questions: what happened, what does it mean, and what do I do? What happened? Obama stays in with 303 electoral votes. Democrats won the Senate, now have 52 seats versus the GOP's 45 seats, but that's the least of your problems. Republicans held on to control of the House, claiming 233 seats of the 435 available. The GOP has been successfully isolated now as the hate minority party. 93% of African Americans, 69% of Latinos, 73% of Asians all voted for Obama. Florida made the worst Allen trade in the history of all mankind. An American military hero, a stand-up man of honor, Allen West, voted out. But the people of Florida, in their infinite wisdom, voted this guy back in, Alan Grayson. There were a ton of ballot amendments voted on as well. Here are a few in Florida. There was a measure passed to allow public funding of abortions. It passed by 10 points. And progressives actually looked at that and lamented the loss of the passage of the bill that required parental notification of minors seeking an abortion. On immigration, Maryland voters passed a measure that allows in-state tuition for certain undocumented immigrants. They're calling it a statewide DREAM Act. In Washington State and Colorado, voters passed initiatives that would allow people over 21 to smoke pot under various types of licenses as long as the state can make money. In California, they voted to reform the three-strike law. In California, what is wrong with these people? This is what it means. There will be fewer harsh sentences for violent repeat offenders. So I hit you in the face with a shovel, and then I go and hit you in the face with a machete, and then I take a lamp and break it over your head. I used to go to prison, but now maybe I can tell you my life story. Hardened criminals will get more opportunities to get back out in public and commit more crimes. God bless California. You're on your own. I live in Texas for a reason. Massachusetts just passed a law allowing the use of medical marijuana by a 63-37 margin. In an extremely close vote, there was 49% of the people that voted for legalizing assisted suicide. Nationwide, there were 31 tax measures on the ballot. Oh, more than any other issue, and most of them just, they were gobbled up. Taxes on the rich, more sales tax, more tobacco tax, more income taxes, all the progressive favorites, and they were gobbled up. Elections have major consequences. What happened? I just told you. What does it mean? I just told you. Consequences. Consequences, let's start with the economy. The markets tanked today. The Dow closed down 313 points, triggered over worries over the looming fiscal cliff. What fiscal cliff? I thought we were doing fine. I thought we were all on the right track. The economy is turning around. Worries on the fiscal cliff? Really? Now we find out about it, huh? Now people want to talk about it. They're proposing more taxes and taxing all of the rich. All that's going to do is make people stop spending money and stop creating jobs and dig the hole much deeper. Republicans will be pressured to compromise on raising taxes. Otherwise, they hate everybody. Will they? Oh, I don't know. I trust John Boehner. How about you? I was planning on expanding and hiring another 100 people. We have massive plans. We now have, 4 years ago, I think I had 10 employees. I have 200 and I think 19 employees now in this economy with this regulation. And I did it on my own. I don't want a government handout. Get out of my life. But the question is, how do I hire more people today? When Obama cranks up the taxes, when he cranks up the regulation, the FCC has just said it's impossible for somebody who wants to start their own media company to do it now with the internet unless they pass more regulation. Get out of my life. Nobody can go up against the major media empires? Really? What is this? Is this something you built? No. It's what we built. It's what I built. And the 100 salaries that I wanted to hire are going to come out of my pay. But not if I have more taxes. Try adding up 100 salaries, not cheap. Not only that, how many companies like mine are now going to be able to afford health care costs for their employees because the government wants all of the health care, everyone to be dependent on them. They're going to penalize me because I have great health care. They're going to charge me an extra tax because I give my employees the best health care money can buy. That's insane. I should get a bonus or a little star, or how about a participation trophy for that? Hiring is going to screech to a halt. On foreign policy, oh, I can't imagine. You think you had a bad night's sleep? How do you think Benjamin Netanyahu did last night? What happens to Israel in the next 4 years? And how much gain will the Muslim Brotherhood be allowed to get with 4 more years of acceptance from this administration? By the way, the Muslim Brotherhood came out today saying that President Obama needs to accept the will of the Arab world. How many rebel armies filled with al-Qaeda members will we continue to help and arm? How long before we have any congressional hearings on it? How many more ambassadors have to die? Freedom of religion? How are the Catholics going to feel once they have to start funding and possibly even performing abortions at Catholic hospitals? Will they even stay open? And then what? Israel, God bless you. But you're on your own, at least for the next 4 years. The good news, 85% of the ballots cast by American citizens residing in Israel for the U.S. elections voted not for Barack Obama, but I guess you actually have to have people throwing bombs at you to recognize maybe we shouldn't trust the rhetoric. Elections have powerful consequences, both here and eternally. What do I do? What do I do? Boy, I really wondered as we write this, if this book would sell because I really thought Mitt Romney was going to be it. We have some rewriting to do on it. It comes out in January. It's called The American Crisis. Anybody know what The American Crisis was originally? Thomas Paine. It was the follow-up to Common Sense. He wrote it. This is what got the boys in the boats with George Washington on the banks of the Delaware. And everybody has heard the words of this at one time in your life. These are the times that try men's souls. And as I wrote those words for this book, down from this, I thought this isn't the time that tries men's souls yet. It's not yet. It's not yet. Let me read them today. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us. The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods. And it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. That's today. Freedom's worth more than 4 years of being uncomfortable. And God knows how to fix that price. So you have a choice today. Are you a sunshine patriot? Or do you mean it? Are you going to stand up or sit down? It's only going to get harder from here. Now is not that time for the summer soldier or sunshine patriot. Now is not that time. But now is the time to reevaluate. What do I really believe? Who really are my friends? Where is my life? Where are my children? What have I done? Because you're sitting at a table right now, and the dealer is looking at you, and you have to look at those chips on the table and the chips in front of you, and either take what you have or push them all in. I'm all in. How about you? Back in a minute.